Hello, good day, everybody. Welcome back to Real Talks podcast. And today we're going to be talking about should Bahamian women have equal nationality rights. My name is Lawrence Splash. I'm going to be one of your hosts today, followed by my wonderful co-host team, who's going to introduce themselves as.
I'm your first co-host. My name is Joanna Davos.
I'm your second co-host. My name is Adriana Griffith.
And
I'm
we
your
are,
third host, Sayante Simon.
I'm your third host, Kiara Dean.
all right, so that's our wonderful panel of co-hosts today. So here we have our first caller coming all the way from Elizabeth Estates. Can you please introduce yourself, say your name, and say what you got on your mind?
Good night. My name is Celine Chisholm. Just calling to find out, you guys' input or take on the types of rights women should have in society. Because I feel like this is something needed to ensure equality. So what are some of the rights that you feel women should have?
Well, that's kind of a pretty question. Today we're pretty focusing on nationality rights, but you're right. There's a lot of different things that women can get from the different types of rights that they should have. In that regard, women should have a wide range of rights to ensure their equality and full participation in society. Now, these aren't limited to, but some of these rights are equal pay for your work. Women should receive the same pay as men for performing the same job or work of equal value. Reproductive rights. Women should have the right to make decisions about their own bodies, including access to contraception and safe abortion services. Do you feel it's fair for someone to have more say about your body than you? Education. Women should have equal access to education at all levels and should not face discrimination based on their gender. We also have political participation. Women should have the right to participate fully in political processes, including the right to vote and hold public office. Freedom from violence. Women have the right to live free from all form of violence, including domestic violence, sexual harassment, and trafficking. Healthcare. Women should have access to quality healthcare services, including maternal health care, reproductive health care, and treatment for gender-specific health issues. Property rights. Women should have the same rights as men to own, inherit, and control property. Freedom of movement. Women should have the right to travel freely, to choose where they live, and to move about in public spaces without fear of harassment or violence. Legal rights. Women should have equal rights under the law, including the right to legal representation, the right to a fair trial, and protection from discrimination. Equal opportunities in employment. Women should have equal opportunities for employment, promotion, and career advancement, especially to be free from discrimination based on their gender. These are not limited to, but these are just some of the examples of rights that women should have to ensure their full participation and equality in society. Ensuring equal rights for women is not only a matter of justice and human rights, but also essential for promoting social progress, economic development, and global peace and stability. When women have equal rights, they can fully contribute to and benefit from economic development, leading to a greater prosperity for society. Does that answer your question, Ms. Chisholm?
Yes, thank you.
All right, have a good night. And I hear we have a next caller on the line. They're waiting patiently all the way from Golden Gates. Caller, can you ask a question, say your name, and say what's on your mind?
Good afternoon. My name is Bria Cunningham. My question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of nationality rights?
Good afternoon, Ms. Cunningham. Some advantages of nationality individual rights can be gender equality, that ensures that equal legal status and opportunities for all genders inside of a country is the same as men, economic development, social development, family unity, and legal protection. Those are some advantages.
Okay, can you elaborate more on family unity, please?
In regards to family unity, this can avoid situations when families are separated because of discriminatory laws, ensuring that families are now able to remain together despite their gender.
Okay, and then what are some disadvantages of nationality rights?
Some disadvantages of nationality rights can be the resistance to change, the implementation of challenges, social stigma, and unintended consequences.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you too. And we have a next caller calling from Yamacraw.
Hello, good night. My name is Peter Gay Williams, and I'm calling just to say, why do you think the for referendum proposal was denied?
Okay, Miss Williams, let's start from the June 7th, 2016 national referendum. Let's get into the changes that the national constitution would have made if amended. So the first amendment would have been under this proposed change to the Constitution, a child born outside the Bahamas would become a Bahamian citizen at birth if either its mother or father is a citizen of the Bahamas by birth. The second amendment would be under this proposed change to the Constitution, the foreign spouse of a Bahamian citizen would be entitled to apply for and obtain citizenship subject to satisfying one, existing national security or public policy considerations, and two, new provisions guarding against marriage of convenience. Amendment number 3. Under this proposed change to the Constitution, a Bahamian father of a person born out of wedlock would be able to pass his citizenship to the person subject to legal proof that he is the father. Amendment number 4. Under this proposed change to the Constitution, it would be unlawful to discriminate based on sex, which would be defined as being male or female, with the effect that women and men would have equal rights under the Constitution. So, as you know, all 4 of the proposals were rejected. And your question was, why do I think this is so? Well, I know the talk was that there was confusion on the questions, that people didn't understand the question. But the former prime minister himself said that, I repeat, this referendum will not cause same-sex marriages to become legal in the Bahamas. Marriage in the Bahamas will be legal only if it's between a man and a woman, and male and female are determined at birth. I am so empathetic because it is so important for Bahamians to vote on what is really at stake: equal rights for our sons and our daughters, and not letting false rumors or incorrect information hold sway. But as you stated, the reason that they said was confusion. Thank you.
In the Bahamas, customary citizenship laws have traditional attacks to the concept of paternal descent, in which nationality is inherited from the father to the offspring. The male dominant structure has existed for a long time and has greatly influenced the status of women's rights in the nation. For example, in the Bahamas, the legal framework is that the child nationality is based on the father's nationality. If the father is a citizen of the Bahamas, the child will also be recognized as a citizen, regardless of the mother's nationality. This has also resulted in a situation where Bahamian women married to foreigners are unable to transmit their nationality to their children, which can complicate family access to services.
Okay, thank you very much for clearing that up for me.
Next caller, can you kindly introduce yourself, please?
Hi, good night. My name is Christelle Clark, and my question for you tonight is, what theories or principles would you say relates to nationality rights, and what issues would you also say accompany that?
Okay, it's funny that you ask because we have 2 theories that relates to your question. The first one is the principle of justice. What is the principle of justice, you may ask? The principle of justice refers to the moral or ethical concept of fairness, equity, and the impartial treatment of individuals or groups within a society. Principles of justice guide decision making in various contexts, including law, politics, economics, and social policy, with the aim of promoting fairness, equality, and the protection of individual rights. Simply means to treat everyone fairly and equally. How does this apply to women's nationality rights? Equality and non-discrimination. The principle of justice demands equality before the law and prohibits discrimination because of gender. In respect to nationality rights, it requires that women have the same rights as men to acquire, retain, and pass on citizenship to their children and spouses. This principle ensures that women are not disadvantaged or discriminated against in matters of citizenship solely because of their gender. Fair distribution of rights. Justice principles call for the fair distribution of rights and opportunities within a society.
In the case of nationality rights, this means that women should have equal access to citizenship and the benefits and responsibilities that come with it. Laws and policies related to citizenship should not unfairly favor men over women. Accountability and rule of law. Justice principles require that governments and institutions are accountable for upholding women's nationality rights and that they operate within the framework of the rule of law. This ensures that women's rights are respected and protected and that they have recourse to legal remedies in cases of injustice or rights violations related to nationality issues. Lastly, promotion of social cohesion. Justice principles promote social cohesion and solidarity by ensuring that women are fully included and recognized as equal citizens within society. By upholding women's nationality rights, governments contribute to building a more inclusive and equitable society where all individuals, regardless of gender, have equal opportunities to participate and contribute. Next is rights theory. Rights theory holds that individuals have basic entitlements that should be respected and safeguarded, such as autonomy and equality, forming the foundation for fair treatment and ethical behavior in society. How does this apply to one's nationality rights? Inherent entitlements. Rights theory asserts that individuals possess inherited entitlements but simply by virtue of their humanity. When applied to women's nationality rights, this means that women have inherited rights to equal treatment, autonomy, and dignity in matters related to citizenship and nationality. Equality and non discrimination. Rights theory emphasizes that the principle of equality before the law and prohibits discrimination because of gender. In the context of nationality rights, this means that women should have the same rights as men to acquire, retain, and pass on citizenship to their children and spouses. Discriminatory citizenship laws or policies that favor men over women would be considered unjust according to rights theory. Autonomy and self determination. Rights theory prioritizes individual autonomy and self determination, emphasizing that individuals should have control over their own lives and decisions. In the context of nationality rights, this means that women should have the autonomy to make decisions about their own citizenship status, including the ability to acquire or renounce citizenship with undue interference or cohesion. Last but not least, correlative duties. Rights theory often involves the concept of correlative duties, meaning that if individuals have rights others have corresponding obligations to respect and protect those rights. In the case of women's nationality rights, governments and institutions have a duty to ensure that women's right to equal nationality are upheld and protected, including through the enactment of non-discriminatory citizenship laws and policies. Lastly, universal and inviolable rights. Rights theory often views rights as universal and inviolable, applying to all individuals regardless of their specific characteristics or circumstances. When applied to women's nationality rights, this means that women entitlements to equal nationality should be recognized and protected universally, without expectations or arbitrary restrictions based on gender. Issues arises. There are numerous issues that can arise from women not being able to pass on their nationality to their offsprings. Free education. In the Bahamas, Bahamian citizens have the rights to free education if the child do not have mother's nationality. This can result in child paying hundreds of dollars for free education or lack of education. The right to vote. With no status, a child will not be able to vote in their own country. Statelessness. This child is not recognizing as a citizen and can face deportation. Job opportunities. This hinders the child from their full potential at obtaining a job or achieving a high position. Lack of health care or insurance can be denied health care due to no status. Psychological distress. This can result in psychological distress that can cause depression and anxiety. Abuse by spouse. Lack of status can cause one to settle in an abusive relationship. Last but not least, deny to driver's license and bank accounts. Forced marriage, settling for marriage due to lack of status to access citizenship in another way. Hope that that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, good night, guys. That was a wonderful presentation from our host. Here next we're gonna have just a little bit of statistical background from our analyst specialist on stage. Her name is Danielle. She's gonna come out shortly just to talk to you about guys about things that she's found out.
Hi, good day, everyone. I'm glad to be here. So, there was a survey conducted where 100 plus persons took part in. Around 55.6% identified as women, 42.2% identified as men, and around 2.2% identified as neither. So, within my findings, over 85% of those individuals believe that everyone has rights. They're not wrong. Everyone does have rights. But what surprised me the most is that around 44% of the participants actually disagreed that women do not have equal rights as men in the Bahamas. Compared to this, only slightly over 20% believes that women are on par with men. Now, this is shocking. So, with the rest of my findings, they left comments stating that women were seen as inferior to men. And this was a large scale. This was a large scale reasoning that I found. It was stated that women are not seen as equals to men, and we are seen as weak and incapable and unsuitable emotionally for jobs and for all around leisures that men do. However, on the bright side, though, 50% of participants agrees that women deserve equal pay as men. So I guess that's a upside to it. When it comes to how the rights of women, Bahamian women, I corrected myself, Bahamian women within different races are treated, there is a landslide of 50% of persons that state that women's rights within different races are not being treated the same. It's not being respected the same. I'm going to give you just a few comments. I can't really disclose the depth of these comments, but I'll give you a brief description of the comments that were given. There have been comments where people explain that Caucasian women's rights were respected more than, let's say, a Bahamian East Asian woman's rights here in the Bahamas. It has also been recorded that native Bahamian women of Black race was denied access to fancy restaurants and high-end bars and clubs, and Bahamian Hispanic women were allowed in. But what I can share with you guys is that overall, the participants found this topic very relevant, and they stated that it needs to be spoken about more, that women need to rise up and voice their opinions more. I hope this statistical analysis helps, and I hope it brings that it opens up your eyes to the state of the minds of fellow Bahamians. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, so thank you, Daniel. It's been great having you. I feel like we got a good statistical insight as relates to how people probably feel in the Bahamas. So guys, it's been Real Talks podcast, and I hope you had a good time thinking about should Bahamian women have nationality rights. And I hope you have a good night.